Hello and welcome back to Black Hole Battles game development here on Let's Code Physics. I am just trying to avoid this black hole here. I did not give my ship enough thrust there, although I don't think I have to worry about this next round because it looks like the enemy ship is going to run into those black holes there. Let's see what he does. And he does run into them. So I've made some adjustments to the enemy control subroutines. That's been the focus for the last several videos. In order to get a better idea of what the control theory routine is thinking, I'm now, just as a diagnostic, plotting the best trajectory that that this subroutine selects. So that's what these pink dots are. So the enemy ship should be following these pink dots pretty well. What you're going to notice here, for example, is that he's going to turn in such a way as to be able to guide himself along the curvature. So in order to follow that curvature, he needs to be thrusting in this way. So he's probably applying a reverse thrust. But his velocity is already going in this direction. So the computer is actually doing a better job than I am in terms of distinguishing between the direction his velocity is going and the direction his thrust is going, which of course it's programmed to do that, whereas I have, I'm, even as a seasoned physicist, I still have difficulty conceiving of my ship traveling in a different direction than it's pointing in. And so you see it's following the trajectory pretty well. So the move executor that we have is also doing well. So let's take a look, just a few points of revision that I've made since the last video. Here's where I'm creating those markers. So I just have a list of markers, and each basically for each point in that in the best trajectory, it instantiates a new marker, and then up here it destroys the previous markers. So from one turn to the next, we get fresh trajectories. Speaking of trajectories, I realized as I was working on this that I never cleared my trajectory list. And so when I started drawing the trajectories, I kept getting the old trajectories on the screen leading from where the ship was the last turn. And so I had never added this in here to clear the trajectory, so that's very important so that it only evaluates the currently considered trajectories, not the ones from the previous turn, obviously. I also made a change where I'm no longer resetting the velocity between moves, so the ships have a continuous velocity going from one move to the next. So you probably saw that on the last move that I made. Let's run the code again so I can demonstrate this to you. Okay, so for example, let's say I want to thrust away from this black hole here, and so I want to thrust backwards. So let's say I do that. Ship's making its rotation. Okay, now if I just click go without any thrust programmed in, I'm now going to continue along with my previous velocity once we get to the moving phase. So again, there I kept my velocity vector pointing downward on the screen. I might eventually add in a velocity vector as an arrow to sort of help the player keep track of what direction they were heading in between turns. So we're not resetting that anymore, and in fact I'm not even keeping track of that separately here. I'm just accessing from the ship mover routine the ship's velocity, the X component and the Y component, to feed that into my trajectory generator. Also, this now directly accesses the force on the ship. So again, from ship mover, we are now accessing the force on the ship so that we've got an accurate measurement of the acceleration of the ship. Previously, I just had that, I think I just had that as the thrust. And so this is now the current acceleration of the ship in the X and Y components. And of course, I had to update that 4 times because we get, for every time we loop over the trajectories, we get a sharp trajectory and a smooth trajectory going to one side or the other of the goal point. And then the only thing that changes there is we're increasing the distance from the goal point each time, just as a reminder of how that control theory routine works. Let's see. I also realized that I needed to make that a static variable. So previously, this force on ship over here in ship mover, when I had it left over from enemy controls, this force on ship, I had as a static variable. Static means that the variable gets the same value across all instances of this subroutine. And so the enemy ship and the player ship both had the same force on them. So I don't know which one of them was correct. Probably neither of them was the correct force for either of them. So I'm glad I was able to find that, because that makes it run a lot better, both in terms of physics and in terms of gameplay. It's wonderful when those two goals overlap. One other thing I had to check, or that I had to fix, was down here in plan exec. So the make traj subroutine is where it generates the trajectories that it's going to follow, but plan exec plans the execution of that trajectory. So this is basically the ship saying, okay, what does my next step need to be? And the next step is given in terms of the rotation that it applies and the thrust that it applies. And previously, I was just looping over these as -1, 0, and 1 for both the thrust and the rotation. So it was only 1 unit forward, 1 unit backward, or none. And since our player ship has this wide range of controls for the rotation and for the thrust, the enemy ship needs to have the same range of possible controls. Oh, I should have fired a shot. I might have been able to hit him there. And so now it's looping over all of those. Consequently, you might see it do some funny rotations. So, for example, right now, let's take a look at it rotating. It might be rotating. Well, there it didn't rotate a whole lot. It never behaves strangely when I want it to. So, like here, it's rotating, almost more than 180 degrees. So it's navigating between having a pointing forward and having a forward thrust, or pointing backward and having a backward thrust. It's treating those equivalently. And in fact, it's giving preference to the backward rotation because because that's what comes first. Eventually, we'll add in the ship considering where the player is, and then it will have a preference of which direction it points, because then it will need to point toward the player ship to fire a shot at it. What you might have noticed when I started this up both times, or every time it restarts a new level, that its first trajectory is always straight. And it's kind of strange, and it doesn't actually follow that trajectory. It tends to move perpendicular to it. I'm not entirely sure why that is, except that here in the make trajectory subroutine, it reads in the velocity and the acceleration like we saw earlier, and those are both 0 initially. Although I suppose technically it's not 0, the acceleration is not 0 to begin with, because it does have forces from these black holes. So I think the best way for me to fix that is going to be to add in a calculation of the force on the ship before it gets started. I wonder if I could do that here in Ship Mover. Let's see. I suppose what I could do is I could calculate the initial I did spell that right, initial force on the ship. And then all I need to do is take all of the force on ship code here and just copy and paste that. Let's see. Let's grab all of those. I don't need the thrust, so there's not going to be any thrust, but it does need all of this, so I'll do a copy there. And we'll do a paste here. Now, the problem is, does it know what black holes... does it know what this list is? Let's try black holes. If I go upward... Yes, it is referencing the black holes from the black hole list subroutine, and I believe that black hole list gets rendered first. Yeah, because that black hole list gets taken care of here in Black Hole Spawner, so Unity's going to read through these game objects in this order. So it's going to hit this one first, and then hit other ship there. So let's see what that does, because that's going to feed in to its first decision, that acceleration. Let's see if we get a little bit better trajectory there. Okay, we do. Awesome. So we no longer have just a straight line. If I take a look there, it is curving a little bit, and it's not as stretched out as before. Let's see if that gets it to behave a little bit better. Oh, I have it paused for some reason. My bad. Let's click on go. It's probably going to get hit in the rotation. Or it's not going to move at all. Why is it not moving? Alright, I might have, as usual, I might have broken it trying to do something on video. Let's see. Okay, so let's let's give my ship a control. Let's have it reverse its thrust. I wonder why it's starting out paused. Am I getting an error message? Oh, object reference not set, blah, blah, blah. Ship mover 67. 67, that would be down here. Why is that a problem here, but not a problem down below? Of course, I got a whole bunch of red text here because my MonoDevelop hasn't connected with Unity properly. Although I wonder if that's the problem. Let's see. This is accessing line 67. Okay, let me take a look at this and I will be back in just a second. Alright, the problem seems to be that it's not reading in this list in that first frame. It seems to be doing fine afterwards, but it doesn't seem to be doing fine in the first frame. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a let's try this a little bit differently. We're gonna comment those out, and we're gonna have a game object. We're gonna find the black hole spawner, and what do we call that over here? We call it the BH spawner. All right, BH spawner. There we go. And then just like we find the control panel here, we're gonna find the BH spawner using GameObject.find BH spawner, because that's the object that holds that list. And so what we're going to do is, instead of having this black holes list, actually I guess we do want the black hole list here. Actually, let's do it this way. Let's have this. So all of our references to black holes, we're going to make that bh spawner.get component. That's going to be its black hole list is the name of the subroutine that stores all the black holes. So that's in this black hole list. Black hole list. There we go. Dot black holes. So everywhere I have a black holes, we're gonna put this in front of it. So I have black holes there, I have black holes here. Also I need to, well, let's see, I'm already storing the information about the black hole's mass on here, so I don't need to update that. And then let's look for black holes. Then we'll make the same addition here, just to be consistent. That's probably better anyway, rather than storing it locally here. Oops. Let's see here. Black holes. Everything else seems to be fine. And then I don't think I need to clear the lists here. There we go. Let's give that a try. Oh my. Black hole list cannot be accessed. An instance reference. Quantify it with a type name instead. Okay, so I have a problem. The first one, line 64. Let's see. So let's open up black hole list. Black hole list. Wonderful. Let's see, is there a problem with it being able to access black holes? Static, public. Oh, probably because, okay, so I probably need to make this non-static now. Was just talking about static variables just a couple minutes ago, weren't we? That should go away now. Oh my, a field initializer is required. Public list. Let's see, an object reference is required to access non-static member. What does that mean here on line 64? Int I equals 0 less than get component black hole list black holes. Same problem here, I'm guessing. Yeah. Oh, line 39. Oh, I'll bet. Oh yeah, I need to change it in enemy controls as well now. So let's see our black holes. Let's comment out those. Find the next one, please. Alright, so I need to make the same revision here. Oh, yeah, I need to update that thing to have it be, oh, it hasn't, I haven't told it where black hole spawner is. Okay, we'll do that in just a minute. Let's see here. So this now needs to be, let's see, it needs to be this black hole dot black holes of I dot get component. Oh, how do we access its mass? Let's see, we get its mass from this black hole mass dot my mass. Oops, excuse me. Let's see, let's put it in here. This black hole home, this black hole mass dot my mass. Don't need that part. Oh my, what did I do there? Cluster COM. Okay, I interrupted a brace there. And I need to do the same thing up here. I need to have a private game object BH spawner. There we go. And then I need to have it find the BH spawner. Copy. Any controls? I need that to go in the initializer. Paste. Here we go. So now BH. Okay, so let's look for black holes. Let's see here. Oops, I need to copy this part back now. Let's see, so wherever I have a black holes, that needs to go here. Paste. I have a black holes down here, it needs to go there. Black holes here. Oops, oops, I'm not supposed to overwrite that, am I? I'm just supposed to append that to the front. Let's see here. That looks good, that looks good. Same thing here. Then I need to make the same update there. Let me come back for that one. Better to keep one thing in the clipboard at a time. That guy there. 16. That one's good. That one's nope. I need that to be replaced there. Oh. Too many dots. There we go. And I think that'll bring us all right there. Okay, now this this black hole mass business. That needs to get replaced with this thing. Copy. So let's see here. Paste. There we go. Let's look for, I guess let's search for mass. Wonderful. Good. Alright, let's search for the mass now. Total mass. Let's see. Yeah, like right here I need to replace that. Only that needs to be, instead of I, that needs to be closest black hole. Closest black hole. I'm learning to embrace the variable finder. Let's see here, rigidbody2d.mass, that's all fine. Where did you go? There you are. Alright, that's rigidbody2d mass. Okay. That should be fine now. Save. That should be fine now. I hope this works, because if it doesn't, I did not make a backup of that. I'll just have to go back and change all of it. Alright, so this thing is still giving me a problem with an object reference is required to access non-step. But I am giving an object reference, aren't I? Let's see, this is on enemy control. Oh, it's, you know what? I was doing all of that fine. It's accessing the wrong stuff. It's accessing enemy controls, not enemy controls CT. Why after all this time? Oh, it's, okay, you know what I need to do? I should have looked at the actual code it was referencing, because these are all codes that I don't use anymore. So what I need to do is I need to just get rid of those codes. I have those scripts. So I've spent the last 10 minutes chasing around mistakes in codes that I'm not using. Let's see here. Let's go to Black Hole Battles. I have already backed up those old scripts, so I don't need those anymore. So I'm going to delete those from my current scripts directory. So let's see. I need to delete enemy controls without the CT. I need to delete ship controls. So we have the ship mover now, and I need to delete plot trajectory.cs. Alright, let's see if that works. Okay, that cleared everything. Run, please. Maybe don't give me... all of that might not have fixed the error. Okay, ship mover 64 still giving me a problem there. Ship mover 64. I equal to 0. I less than black hole. You know what? Is it keeping the thing from running? Like if I thrust here... Okay, yeah, it's not proceeding any further. Okay. Alright, I found my problem. Are you ready for it? It's so earth-shattering that, well, it's just better if I show you. See, I was looking for an object named BH Spawner. Yeah, I was looking for a BH Spawner. The object is named BH Spawner. There's a space in there, just like there's a space in there. Now everything is running fine. So now my enemy ship is taking into account the force on it in the first frame. Let's see what kind of difference that makes. So it knows it's going to be accelerating that way. And of course now I have another problem. Ship mover 120. Let's see what that comes up with. BH Spawner. I thought we fixed that. Wait a minute. Line 120. BH Spawner. Copy. Paste. How is it not finding a variable name that's right there? That's bizarre. Oh, yeah, there we go. I need to do that. But why is my search functionality not working? Okay. Let's try that again. That should fix that for everybody. So those are the only two codes that call that. So let's try that one more time. Ooh, yay, it's got a little bit of a curvature there. Let's try reverse thrusting our player ship. So it knows it's going to be accelerating that way. Okay, it's able to take that into account. That's nice. That's nice. Let's move ourselves this way. Alright, now it should be following along this trajectory there, and it does wonderfully. Then it decides to change trajectory. So one of the things I'm going to play around with off camera is trying to have it update its trajectory only every like 5 moves or so, just so it'll stick with the trajectory instead of switching it so frequently. Just wondering strategically what that would do. Let's see, we were able to reload the scene without any problems. No error messages over here. Cool. So, I was able to fix it. Hooray. Again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.